What if I told you that your success in life, at work, in business, even in relationships, depends only 15% on your knowledge, and 85% on how well you deal with people? That's what Dale Carnegie discovered almost a century ago, and it's still true today. Welcome back to the Growth Library. Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful self-improvement books ever written, How to Win Friends and Influence People. This book has sold over 10 million copies, been translated into dozens of languages, and changed the lives of leaders, entrepreneurs, and ordinary people all over the world. What this book is for. This isn't a book about manipulation or tricks. It's a guide to understanding people, how to make genuine connections, resolve conflicts, and inspire others to work with you, not against you. Dale Carnegie believed that learning to get along with people is the most valuable skill you can ever develop. He called it human engineering, the ability to influence others while remaining kind, respectful, and authentic. What you'll gain, the 8 promises of the book. Carnegie said this book will help you get out of mental ruts and think new thoughts. Make friends quickly and easily. Increase your popularity and influence. Win people to your way of thinking without arguments. Handle complaints and criticism gracefully. Become a better speaker and conversationalist. Inspire enthusiasm in others. And ultimately, live a happier, more successful life. Why Dale? How to read and actually use this book. Carnegie didn't want people to just read his book, he wanted them to live it. He gave 9 simple rules for how to study it effectively. Read with a purpose, a deep desire to improve how you deal with people. Reread each chapter twice. Stop and reflect on how you can apply what you read. Highlight the key lessons. Review the book every month. Practice the principles every day. Track your progress and celebrate your small wins. It matters today. Even though this book was first published in 1936, its lessons are timeless. In an age of social media and constant communication, the ability to listen, connect, and inspire trust is rarer and more valuable than ever. This book teaches that true influence doesn't come from power or persuasion, it comes from genuine understanding and respect. In the next section, we'll dive into the first section of the book, Fundamental Techniques in Handling People, including one principle that can instantly change how people respond to you. So if you've ever wanted to improve your relationships, communicate better, or just be more likable, this series is for you. Hit subscribe and let's start learning from one of the most timeless guides to human connection ever written. Chapter 1. If you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. It all begins with one of the wildest stories New York ever saw. In 1931, a gunman named Two Gun Crowley was cornered in his apartment. 150 policemen surrounded him. Gunfire echoed through the city for hours. When they finally captured him, bleeding and defeated, they found a note he had written while the bullets were flying. Under my coat is a weary heart, but a kind one that would do nobody any harm. That same man had just murdered a police officer for simply asking for his driver's license. Yet even he believed he was the good guy. And that is Dale Carnegie's first big insight: nobody thinks they are wrong. Even the worst people justify their actions. Al Capone, one of history's most notorious criminals, once said, "I've spent the best years of my life helping people have a good time, and all I get is abuse." He saw himself not as a villain, but as a misunderstood benefactor. From gangsters to politicians, people almost always rationalize their behavior. If even murderers can justify their actions, what chance do we have of changing people by criticizing them? Criticism does not reform. It provokes. When you criticize someone, you attack their sense of importance. They defend themselves, argue, and justify their actions even more strongly. Psychologists later proved the same thing: reward brings change, punishment brings resistance. As B.F. Skinner discovered animals and humans learn faster through positive reinforcement than through punishment. Hans Selye put it perfectly. As much as we thirst for approval, we dread condemnation. Carnegie gives a real example. George Johnston, a safety coordinator, used to order his workers to wear hard hats and got only grudging obedience. When he stopped scolding and instead asked politely if their helmets were uncomfortable, then reminded them they were for protection, compliance increased immediately. No anger. No resentment. Just understanding. This idea appears everywhere in history. Theodore Roosevelt's harsh criticism of President Taft destroyed their friendship and split the Republican Party, handing the presidency to Woodrow Wilson. Did Taft blame himself? No. He said, "I don't see how I could have done any differently." Criticism did not change him. It only pushed him to defend himself. In the Teapot Dome scandal of the 1920s, Secretary Albert Fall took bribes and went to prison. His wife refused to believe he had done wrong. She said, "He's the one who has been betrayed and crucified." It is human nature. We blame others, not ourselves. Abraham Lincoln learned this lesson the hard way. As a young man, he mocked people publicly and once wrote cruel letters that led to a duel challenge. He survived, but it changed him forever. From that day on, Lincoln stopped ridiculing others. During the Civil War, when generals failed him, he refused to lash out. Instead of criticizing, he showed patience and empathy. When his wife and others condemned the South, Lincoln said, "Don't criticize them, they are just what we would be under similar circumstances." He knew that criticism only created enemies. It never healed wounds. After the Battle of Gettysburg, General Meade let Robert E. Lee escape. Lincoln was furious and wrote a harsh letter. But he never sent it. He realized that sending it might make him feel better, but it would destroy Meade's morale and damage their relationship. That letter was found only after Lincoln's death. It stands as a reminder that great leaders choose understanding over criticism. Carnegie ends the chapter with one truth. Any fool can criticize, condemn, and complain, but it takes character and self-control to be understanding and forgiving. If you want to gather honey, do not kick over the beehive. Instead of tearing people down, look for what is good in them. When you stop criticizing and start appreciating, people naturally open up. That is where real influence begins.
Chapter 2: The Big Secret of Dealing with People. There is only one way under high heaven to get anybody to do anything, by making the other person want to do it. You can't win lasting cooperation through fear, threats, or criticism. True influence begins when you give people what they truly want: appreciation and a feeling of importance. As psychologist John Dewey said, "The deepest urge in human nature is the desire to be important." William James echoed this truth: "The deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated." This craving shapes every human life. It drives ambition, creativity, and even love. History shows how powerful this desire can be. It pushed a poor grocery clerk named Abraham Lincoln to study law, inspired Dickens to write, Rockefeller to build hospitals, and even led criminals to seek fame through infamy. The difference between greatness and disgrace often lies in how people seek their feeling of importance. Business leader Charles Schwab once said, "I consider my ability to arouse enthusiasm among my people the greatest asset I possess." He believed appreciation and encouragement brought out the best in others, while criticism destroyed ambition. "If I like anything," he said, "I am hearty in my approbation and lavish in my praise." The lesson is simple but profound. People hunger for honest appreciation more than almost anything else. A few sincere words can change someone's attitude, effort, and even their life. So remember, the big secret of dealing with people is not manipulation or flattery. It's genuine appreciation. Chapter 3 Summary: He who can do this has the whole world with him. He who cannot walks a lonely way. Principle 3. Arouse in the other person an eager want. The chapter teaches that the only way to influence people is to talk about what they want and show them how to get it. Dale Carnegie explains that most people make the mistake of focusing on their own desires instead of appealing to the interests of others. When you make others see how something benefits them, they respond positively and willingly. Carnegie opens with examples of poorly written business letters. One advertising agency bragged about its size and success, but the reader's imagined reaction was irritation and indifference. The person thought, "I don't care how big you are, I'm interested in how big I am." This shows that self-centered communication fails to influence anyone. A second example is a letter from a freight terminal superintendent asking a customer to make earlier deliveries. The first version complained about the terminal's problems. The revised version focused on how early deliveries would benefit the customer, faster service, no delays, and happier workers. By writing from the customer's point of view, the message became cooperative instead of demanding. Another example is Barbara Anderson, a New York banker who wanted to move to Phoenix. Instead of writing letters asking for a job, she explained how her experience could help local banks grow and become more profitable. 11 out of 12 banks invited her for interviews. She succeeded because she focused on what the employers wanted, not on what she wanted. Carnegie contrasts two insurance salesmen, Carl and John. Carl mentioned a new policy casually and left it there. John spoke with enthusiasm, telling his clients they could be among the first to benefit. His excitement aroused desire and led to sales, while Carl's indifference led to none. He shares the story of a father who couldn't get his son to eat properly. Scolding failed until the father appealed to the boy's own wish to grow strong enough to defend himself against a bully. Once the boy saw eating as a way to reach his goal, he began to eat eagerly. The same boy later stopped wetting the bed after being allowed to buy his own bed and pajamas. His pride and sense of ownership motivated him to change. A similar lesson came from a little girl who refused to eat breakfast cereal. When her parents let her make the cereal herself, she proudly ate it. The feeling of self-expression and importance made her cooperate willingly. Carnegie quotes William Winter, "Self-expression is the dominant necessity of human nature." Carnegie concludes that people love to feel important and want to express themselves. The most effective way to lead or persuade is to link your goals with their desires. He advises, when we have a brilliant idea, instead of making others think it is ours, let them cook and stir the idea themselves. They will then regard it as their own. He emphasizes that this principle should never be used for selfish manipulation. Both sides should benefit. The best outcomes occur when everyone gains, as shown in the examples of the freight letter, Barbara Anderson's job offer, and the salesman who helped his client improve his station. Carnegie quotes Owen D. Young, "People who can put themselves in the place of other people, who can understand the workings of their minds, need never worry about what the future has in store for them." The chapter ends with the reminder that understanding others' needs is the foundation of success in relationships, business, and life. The only way on earth to influence other people is to talk about what they want and show them how to get it. First, arouse in the other person an eager want. He who can do this has the whole world with him. He who cannot walks a lonely way. Chapter 4, do this and you'll be welcome anywhere. Principle 1, become genuinely interested in other people. This chapter teaches that genuine interest in others is the foundation of friendship and influence. Dale Carnegie begins with the example of a dog, the animal that wins affection not by asking for anything, but by showing pure, unconditional love. The lesson is clear. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. Carnegie emphasizes that most people are primarily interested in themselves, as proven by a study showing that the most frequently used word in telephone conversations is I. Therefore, to win others, we must focus on them, not on ourselves. He shares real-life examples. Howard Thurston, a magician, succeeded because he truly loved his audience and said before each show, "I love my audience." Theodore Roosevelt showed sincere concern for everyone, from servants to high officials, remembering names and greeting everyone warmly. A salesman, by showing kindness to a store's soda clerk, won back a major account because his genuine friendliness was noticed. Charles Walters, a banker, gained valuable information from a company president simply by showing interest in the man's son's stamp collection. C.M. Nafu, Jr., turned an enemy client into a buyer by asking for his advice rather than trying to make a sale. A student nurse changed a lonely child, Thanksgiving, by staying with him out of sincere compassion. Carnegie reinforces that real interest must be sincere. It cannot be faked for manipulation. As the Roman writer Publilius Syrus said, "We are interested in others when they are interested in us." In short, the chapter concludes that the surest way to be welcomed anywhere is to be genuinely interested in other people. This interest must be expressed through time, thoughtfulness, and authentic care. Chapter 5. A simple way to make a good impression. Principle 2. Smile. In this chapter, Dale Carnegie reveals one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to win people over: a genuine smile. He begins with the story of a woman who spent a fortune on jewels and clothes, but neglected the most important part of her appearance: her expression. "The expression one wears on one's face," he writes, "is far more important than the clothes one wears on one's back." Charles Schwab once said his smile had been worth $1 million because it reflected charm, confidence, and genuine warmth, qualities that helped him succeed. A smile says without words, "I like you, you make me happy, I'm glad to see you." Carnegie shares real stories to prove how a simple smile can transform situations. A baby's smile once turned a tense waiting room into a friendly gathering. A department store manager admitted she would rather hire a smiling clerk with little education than a PhD with a frown. Even over the phone, a smile can be heard. Companies taught employees to smile while talking because people respond better to warmth than to cold professionalism. Psychologist James V. McConnell said, "People who smile tend to teach, sell, and manage more effectively and raise happier children." And philosopher William James taught that if you don't feel happy, act as if you do. Action seems to follow feeling, but really action and feeling go together. Carnegie also shares the story of William Steinhardt, a grouchy stockbroker whose life changed when he decided to smile every morning. Within weeks, his home became happier, his work more pleasant, and even his income increased. He realized that by smiling, giving appreciation, and avoiding criticism, he became a happier and richer man, richer in friendships and joy. Carnegie reminds us that happiness depends not on conditions, but on attitude. As Lincoln said, "Most folks are about as happy as they make up their minds to be." And the Chinese proverb wisely adds, "A man without a smiling face must not open a shop." A smile costs nothing but creates much. It enriches those who receive without impoverishing those who give. It brightens lives, builds trust, and opens doors. In short, if you want to make a lasting impression, start with a genuine smile. Chapter 5. A simple way to make a good impression. Principle 2. Smile. In this chapter, Dale Carnegie reveals one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to win people over: a genuine smile. He begins with the story of a woman who spent a fortune on jewels and clothes, but neglected the most important part of her appearance: her expression. "The expression one wears on one's face," he writes, "is far more important than the clothes one wears on one's back." Charles Schwab once said his smile had been worth $1 million because it reflected charm, confidence, and genuine warmth, qualities that helped him succeed. A smile says without words, "I like you, you make me happy, I'm glad to see you." Carnegie shares real stories to prove how a simple smile can transform situations. A baby's smile once turned a tense waiting room into a friendly gathering. A department store manager admitted she would rather hire a smiling clerk with little education than a PhD with a frown. Even over the phone, a smile can be heard. Companies taught employees to smile while talking because people respond better to warmth than to cold professionalism. Psychologist James V. McConnell said, "People who smile tend to teach, sell, and manage more effectively and raise happier children." And philosopher William James taught that if you don't feel happy, act as if you do. Action seems to follow feeling, but really action and feeling go together. Carnegie also shares the story of William Steinhardt, a grouchy stockbroker whose life changed when he decided to smile every morning. Within weeks, his home became happier, his work more pleasant, and even his income increased. He realized that by smiling, giving appreciation, and avoiding criticism, he became a happier and richer man, richer in friendships and joy. Carnegie reminds us that happiness depends not on conditions, but on attitude. As Lincoln said, most folks are about as happy as they make up their minds to be. And the Chinese proverb wisely adds, a man without a smiling face must not open a shop. A smile costs nothing but creates much. It enriches those who receive without impoverishing those who give. It brightens lives, builds trust, and opens doors. In short, if you want to make a lasting impression, start with a genuine smile. Chapter 6. If you don't do this, you are headed for trouble. This chapter reveals one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to influence people, remembering their names. Dale Carnegie illustrates this through stories of remarkable individuals like Jim Farley, who could recall over 50,000 names and used that skill to help elect Franklin D. Roosevelt as president. Farley's success wasn't built on wealth or education, but on the personal warmth that came from greeting people by name and remembering details about their lives. Andrew Carnegie, another example, used the same principle to win business and loyalty. He once named a steel mill after a railroad president, which ensured years of partnership and profit. He understood that a person's name is deeply tied to their identity and pride. Carnegie also tells of Seed Levy, who addressed a Greek customer by his full name, Nicodemus Papadoulos, instead of shortening it. The man was moved to tears, saying no one had ever taken the effort to pronounce it correctly. Even great leaders like Franklin D. Roosevelt practiced this art. Despite his busy schedule, Roosevelt remembered the names of mechanics, staff, and visitors, making each person feel valued. This small gesture created lasting goodwill and loyalty. The message is clear. A person's name is to them the sweetest and most important sound in any language. Forget it, and you risk losing connection. Remember it sincerely, and you build trust, respect, and influence. Principle 3. Remember that a person's name is, to that person, the sweetest and most important sound in any language. Asterisk Chapter 7. An easy way to become a good conversationalist. Asterisk. Principle 4. Be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves. Dale Carnegie explains that the secret to being a great conversationalist isn't in talking, it's in asterisk listening. People love to talk about themselves, and when you listen with real interest, they feel valued and understood. He shares how a woman once called him a most interesting conversationalist, even though he barely spoke. His only trick was sincere attention. As Jack Woodford said, few human beings are proof against the implied flattery of rapt attention. Carnegie also tells of a botanist he met at a dinner. By listening eagerly and asking questions, he impressed the man, despite knowing nothing about botany. Harvard's Charles W. Eliot called this exclusive attention, the act of making someone feel truly heard. Real-life examples show how listening can build trust. A store manager saved a loyal customer by patiently hearing her complaint. A phone company resolved a long conflict just by letting a customer talk. Abraham Lincoln often sought relief by talking to friends who simply listened. Carnegie warns, if you want to make people avoid you, talk only about yourself. True connection comes from genuine curiosity. To be interesting, be interested. Ask questions, listen closely, and make others feel important. Principle 4, asterisk, be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves. Chapter 8, How to Interest People. Principle 5, talk in terms of the other person's interests. This chapter teaches that the surest way to win people's attention is to talk about what they care about. Dale Carnegie illustrates this through vivid real-life stories, showing how understanding another person's interests can open doors that effort and persistence alone cannot. Theodore Roosevelt mastered this art. Before meeting anyone, he would study topics that interested his guest. As Carnegie explains, the royal road to a person's heart is to talk about the things he or she treasures most. William Lyon Phelps learned the same truth as a boy. A man spoke to him passionately about boats, though he cared nothing about them. Phelps later discovered the man only did it to be agreeable, a simple act of kindness that left a lifelong impression. Edward L. Chalif wanted corporate sponsorship for Boy Scouts. Instead of starting with his request, he asked to see a millionaire's famous framed check. By showing genuine curiosity, he not only gained the man's support for one boy, but secured funding for 5 and a personal trip to Europe. Henry Juvenoy tried for years to sell bread to a hotel manager without success, until he began talking about the man's passion, the Hotel Greeters Society. The result, the manager became his customer within days. Edward Harriman also applied this principle. By understanding both a businessman's drive for power and his secretary's ambitions, he turned a seemingly closed door into a 20-year career opportunity. The message is clear. When you focus on what interests others, you create connection, trust, and opportunity. As Dale Carnegie reminds us, the royal road to a person's heart is to talk about the things he or she treasures most. Principle 5. Talk in terms of the other person's interests.